Is that not the cutest little troll thing? I will say this is probably the coolest shaped spice. Star anise is so interesting. The name is so on point because it's shaped like a star. So star anise is gonna be really licoricey, which is actually in its name, anise flavor, that anise flavor. It's gonna be really kind of bitter. I think it's the word is astringent, kind of medicinal. The actual star anise doesn't taste like much. I'm not gonna chew it, but it's definitely super aromatic, so you really will get that sense from your nose that it's really licoricey. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of black licorice flavor like the candy, but in certain recipes, star anise is really, really good. It's really common in a lot of like slow braised recipes, soups, stews. So if you're cooking a meat or a dish for a long time, think like a slow cooker meal, a little star anise can be a great flavor to add into it. If you've never had star anise before, a good approachable way to use it is just in a soup. Just heat up some broth, some chicken broth or beef broth, and add a little star anise to it. It'll really infuse that flavor into it and give you a little unique quality, that licoricey flavor in the background. Star anise is one of those flavors you taste in pho, so you can do that in a basic noodle soup or a simple soup at home. Put a little star anise in it and it's a great introduction to using the spice at home. Now, star anise traditionally comes in just whole form. You'll get these big stars, these big clusters of star anise. Now, you can toast this and grind it, or you can find star anise powder, but most often it's just used to perfume and infuse flavor into foods. So a technique that you can use to add star anise flavor to your dishes without needing to like fish out the pods, because they can break, they can become brittle, and then you get these little crunchy bits, is just to do a spice sash. An easy way to make a sash, you can find bags like this online. You can buy them in bulk. They're actually fairly cheap. And these bags are just a thin mesh cheesecloth fabric. It's used a lot for tea, but they're also great to add your hard spices into. And then you tie it up and you can add it to your recipe. And instead of fishing out all the individual star anise pieces, you can just fish out the sash itself. So what I do is throw this into a soup or stew, let it cook in there. You can remove this after a little bit because the flavor can get overwhelming. So what I would do is let it steep for a little bit, taste it, and then once you get that level of flavor you want, you can go ahead and remove it. Now the other method, which is the more common, is just to make a sash out of cheesecloth for your hard spices. So I'm gonna take a piece of cheesecloth, which you just need a small piece. You can add your hard spices in. Now, typically, if you're using star anise, you're not just infusing that on its own, usually using other hard spices like peppercorns or cinnamon sticks, even cloves, any hard spice. You're just gonna fold this up, wrap it up. It can be quick and dirty, doesn't have to be pretty because it's just gonna be cooking in your pot anyways, but you do wanna secure this pretty tightly. So take some butcher's twine, you just tie a big old knot, doesn't have to be pretty because you're gonna cook with it. Throw that little sash into your dish and let it stew or braise either in the oven or on the stove. And there you go, you'll infuse the flavor right in there. If you don't have any butcher's twine, just use your cheesecloth and just do a thin strip of it. You'll use just a little bit of that cheesecloth to make a tie. Just like that. This is actually kind of cute. I kind of feel like this is like a little character I could make. Put some little eye. What, you don't keep googly eyes in a drawer just in case you randomly mention putting eyes on something and need to put eyes on it? Don't cook with the googly eyes on there, but come on now. Is that not the cutest little troll thing? Put these back in the drawer for another day. Anyways, googly eyeballs and silliness aside, if you're trying to infuse flavor into a dish, especially when you're using star anise, go ahead and use this method. You'll get all the flavor without having to fish out the star anise itself.